Restream crashed the moment I pressed the button. Are we streaming? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. YouTube doesn't like the bitrate. Maybe that's a restream thing. Let's see if we are connected to the chat. To the chat. I think so. Twitch chat went through. YouTube chat looks like it might have gone through. Is the stream connecting? We seem to be struggling. Uh-oh. Let me know if you are seeing the stream on YouTube. Right now, it seems to be struggling. Oh, not doing that, do that. Alright. Hey Shelby, how are you doing? Restream chat doesn't seem to... Oh, there it is. Okay, Shelby. There seems to be some lag for Restream to get the chat message. Alright, I will appreciate anybody who can help me today because colors are a touchy subject. So, in the first stream, we kind of created a rough prototype of what the UI would look like. So we have an extra button down here where we can select one of several color palettes. Can connect directly to YouTube again. Are we connected? Hello. I'm gonna do something so I can... Oh, don't need that anymore. I couldn't actually change the OBS settings. Alright, yeah, Restream sometimes is not the greatest. Alright, sorry about to the Twitch fellows. 1 second, let me just post on Twitch. Just in case somebody was popping in from there. Yeah, Restream has issues sometimes. All right, what was I doing? Oh yes, I was trying to build a gradient out of these guys. So we have the color, and then we need to calculate the percentage. So math.round. Let me think. If we take 100, we divide the small by the large, so IDX divided by length, and multiply the whole thing by 100. So if length, if length is 2, IDX, the max IDX will be 1. We want that to be 100%. So it's gonna be actually length minus 1. Let's see if that does the trick. Yeah, look at that. And now we want to make those CSS gradients. One sec, let me just close all this. CSS gradients, sharp edges. There's a way, yeah, hard edges. And it is done by adding each color twice at the beginning and end of the range. All right. So instead of just adding this, we're going to add this twice. Where the second time, all except the last one, so the first one is at 0 and at whatever, right? So we'll do it for all. Dot slice minus 1. I think minus 1 returns the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slice minus 1. Yeah, no, that's not what we want. 0 colors dot length is 1. And then we want... Sorry, this is super messy. I just... We want IDX 0 and then IDX plus 1. And that should skip the last color, I think. And then at the very end, we need to add... this is super messy. No, we're gonna do it differently. We're gonna do this for every color. And then we're just gonna detect the last one. So each color needs to have... where was the CSS stuff? Each color needs to have the starting... blue can have 100% here as well. Right? Yeah. Okay. I was fussing here for nothing. So IDX +1. So we don't want to go to length -1. We want to go... So if length is 3... Sorry, my brain is being super slow. It's getting late. So if length is 3, we have 0, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3. So +1. So this would go from 2/3 to 3/3. And this would go from 0/3, because it's IDX, which is 0, to IDX +1, which is 1/3. And then this one in between would go from 1/3 to 2/3. And that should cover each of the ranges, yes. And that should give us sharp bands of color. So, yeah. So we don't want that. So we either want it transparent against a white background, or no, we don't want desaturated, because we want to represent the colors, right? Even transparent against the white background is already going to make it... this is pretty awful looking, isn't it? Do we want to do this at all? Just, just because we can doesn't necessarily mean we should. Probably what we want to do is we probably want to have this inside a span. So we want to have the icon there. So we probably want to, instead of doing this, we probably want to do children. And then we want to have class icon inner HTML icon. So that's our icon. And then we probably want to have a tag span. And then we want to do content title, like that. And we have 2 icons now. Oh, because we have this as well. And now we can probably style the text separately. So we could put this inside the span now. In here. Something like that. And then we could probably, I think I did this earlier. We don't need that. We have this here. So we have the palette item dot span, not dot span, just span. Height 100%. And we probably want to do display inline block. Ugh, inline block. God damn it, why is this such a mess? Height 100%. Why is this not aligned on the top? Is that the inline block formatting? So inline block. What if it's just block? The icon is got a certain height. I'm gonna do height 100%. Yeah. Do we have, I don't know what causes the spacing at the top. Is this margin? Is it, one sec. Ugh. Yeah. Top. Is this vertical align? Is that what I need to do? But I don't understand if it's center or middle. Maybe it was like baseline or something. Vertical in the middle. I do this. There is padding, but might be after this. So I think what's happening is it's 100% relative to something with an extra margin or without a margin or whatever. In fact, shouldn't it be relative to this height? Height, 100% height. What about line height? I don't know how to make something maximum height. CSS inline block max height. We want to make it the same height as the parent. Yeah, fill the parent. That's what we want. Container, inline flex. Oh god, inline block. Max width, margin right. Align item stretch, padding width. Right box, left box, right box. I have a container with two items. One of those is select items, so I need the size attribute duration. This is turn or stretch the height to fit the container. Can't figure out. Maybe I have a title in upper half of span and palette gradient in lower half of span. Yeah, because you're right. Like if I make it in the background, anything to make the text readable, it'll make the colors not match, right? I want to have space, horizontal space to have enough width for the entire container. All right, tell you what, let's keep it simple, right? Let's make two elements here. So we're gonna have a icon, we're gonna have a class title, and then we're gonna do a separate div, and then we're gonna use CSS to put them in the right places. Colors, something like that, and then we don't need that. And we do that, and that. And then obviously it'll be total mayhem. So what we're gonna do then is, so the icon is gonna be look left. This is gonna be clear both. And the palette item dot colors. Is that what we have here? Colors. Height 50%. And width 100%. Now, should I have it start on the left of the icon or go across like this? I mean, it looks almost... I think what we want to actually... We don't want to float the icon. We're just going to position absolute. And then we're going to put the rest of the stuff in there with margins and whatnot. So then we'll have the icon here. And then the title is going to have margin left 5 rem. We're going to do something similar for the colors. This is obviously not going to be 5 RAM. 4. Now we can't do one with 100%. We're gonna do... If I do position absolute and then just say position absolute height 50, this is gonna have a width of 0, right? So if I do left and then right 1 rem, something like that, will that fill up the space in some sort of reasonable fashion? Left, right, and then 50% height. Problem is I don't wanna set the height to anything specific because I don't know how high the things are gonna be, and they might be variable height in the future. I might try to squeeze more or less items into this list. If I want it to be 50% of the parent, then the parent would have to be relative. So it's a clear both. Position relative. I probably should use flex, but I'm too old for flex. Oh, okay. That's not too bad. Swatch. I like it. That's what I need you guys for. That's exactly the thing. All right. And we probably want to bring this in closer to 3.5. 5. Something like that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty decent actually. To be honest, the title of the thing might get a little bigger. And this, well, maybe we can make the swatch a little narrower, something like that. It's enough for it to just be like a thin line, more or less. Opacity is quite low. Why is that? Why is the opacity low? I can see through those things. So something is affecting... Ah, wait a second. Why do we have 99 in the alpha channel here? Ah, wait a second. Did I get the colors with alpha? No. There's no alpha in these colors. Where the hell is the alpha coming from? Linear gradient. These colors have alpha in them. Huh? What the hell? I'm pretty sure these colors shouldn't have any alpha in them. In fact... Oh, these do. Because they're the actual verbatim colors. Ah. We probably want to remove the alpha. 1 second. How am I actually representing the colors of these original color buttons? Controls, tools, color, tool color, shift pressed. I'm trying to remember. I've taken the buttons used to be hard coded in here, but they are no longer. Wait, is this in the style sheet? I think this might be in the style sheet. Colors. Tool color. So the button colors, basically what I did was I integrated the button colors. Is it a wet default? Yeah, wait a second. Yeah, this is what I saw earlier. The alpha is all wonkers. Yeah. Okay. So the problem is the colors here look different than here. So I hard-coded different colors to make them on the button look like they look here, because here they have an alpha channel, right? And the alpha channel is mixed against white, so they appear lighter than they are. So to standardize that, probably the color should be defined without the alpha channel, and then that should get mixed into it, which means I'm going to have some color mixing tools in the code base to make that work in any kind of reasonable way. But I don't want to go that deep into that particular hole today. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to just strip the color out from here. So that might make the colors look pretty wrong. Man, I've done this before. So if I do something like this, const mix alpha equal, so that's gonna have two colors, right? Color C1, C2. And what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna do this separately here. So we're gonna do this separately. So that's the color scheme. Or we're gonna do this something it's like, all right, one sec. So SudokuPad colors equals this, right? And that's with a weird alpha mix in channel. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna strip that. Right? And it's gonna, yeah, take each of these colors and mix it with mix alpha color. Actually, you know what? We're gonna do a little helper. So we're gonna do CSS to RGBA. And it's going to basically just map one of these guys. So it's gonna be CSS color dot match. And we're gonna do that here. Const. We have the overall match, the red component, green, blue, and alpha component. And it's gonna match against RGBA, some sort of color thing here and here. Oop. And then the alpha is gonna be with a full stop included. And skip that. And instead of mixing, we're just gonna do this first. See what that looks like. Return BBA. Just want to see what did I get wrong. Missing declaration 97. Missing const RGB equals. All right, here we go. So, missing. And they want all the syntax all the time. So boring. Figure it out. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Null is not true. So this is, first of all, these are our colors. Oh, we even have negatives because of the mixing. Ah. We're gonna have negatives in here. We're gonna have negatives. Ah. All right, I'm gonna put the dot in there as well because who knows what crazy things are gonna come up here in the future. All right, so we have the RGBA. We've got this coming back as RGBA values. So we might as well parse these. Float. Parse float. Parse float. And parse float. Now, in reality, I can probably find some kind of CSS color thing, or even some way of using the DOM to decode these. you know, pushing them into the style sheet and getting them out as in color. Actually, JavaScript parse CSS color. Must be a way of parsing CSS colors. Oh, really? Really? A full-on parser? There isn't, you can't do it through the DOM? Really? Parse CSS color using DOM. There must be a way of using the DOM. Because it... Media. Your concern is to edit, run a trigger and redraw load style. Wait, for example, not matching media row to the... So I have something like this. And get all selectors which rule like this. Yeah. I get something like this. Yeah. All right. Let's not worry about that. These are giving us the RGBAs. So then we want to do the mix alpha. So what I'm going to do here actually is outputting SPF colors. Where is this coming from? The 195 down here. Let's get rid of that. And we're going to output these. Color, CSS to RGBA, and then mix alpha between this. I'm going to do RGBA1 and RGBA2. Or, well, the second color is not supposed to be mixed background, actually. BG. Color. BG. So RGBA, BG. RGB. BG. All right. So then the background color should be white, I guess. Something like that. Yeah, so much effort, and it's probably just ever needed for that one original color palette, so I'm probably just wasting time here, to be honest. Okay. So to mix it, we take the first color, multiply it by 0.6. So it's going to be... So it's going to be RGBA 0 times RGBA 3 plus this is going to be the new color, right? Plus BG3 times 1 minus. Now, do we need to clip these? I think we might have to, right? BG0. So that's the red component. Red, green, blue. 2. And it's something like this that I've done in the original when I calculated the colors in the first place. BG 0, 1, 2. And we probably do math.round. And then we probably need to... So the negative, yeah, so the point was that the reason this was negative is to get towards a dark color even after the alpha is being applied. So this should be roughly equivalent to an 80-80-80. Which doesn't sound right, to be honest. Isn't this supposed to be a black? Yeah, this is a pure black. Wait a second. Negative 36 at 0.6. Yeah, that's the problem. Like, a negative 36 at 0.6 alpha actually becomes black, not 0.8. Because what's happening here... So let's do the math, right? 30, we have basically negative 36 times 0.6 plus 255 times 0.4, and that gets us to 80. When in reality, the negative 36 is so dark that it darkens the white to black, even at 0.6 alpha. So this is actually not how they mix the colors. Negative color values. All right, I'm probably going to have to manually pull these out. In fact, where are they? We haven't actually established that, right? Where these colors live. Oh, no, we established that they're in the style sheet, right? Under these things, I guess. So instead of doing this, maybe we're better off just doing these. Instead of doing this, I might as well... Alright. Alright. Doing stuff like this, it feels so pointless. This, these out of there. And the 0 is, I think, the transparent one, yeah. I'm just going to homogenize these two to the hex versions. Do this. Dot map. It's going to be RGB. And it's going to be R.2 fixed to 2 string to 16 dot pad start to 0, and then we're just going to do this for RGB, and then we're just going to do this RGB dot map C dot join, and I think that's it. Yeah, 2 string 16. Don't know where the 2 came from. And then that comes back in here. Yeah, screw all this. Screw all this noise. And this is really just going to be... join. Gonna make our lives a little easier. Come on, hash. That's almost the format we need anyways. I'll just add a little hash back front here. And then split the whole thing by the commas. And that should get us the colors on the buttons. Yes, and they're much more vibrant. And when we go back to that, it actually looks the same. Yeah. That's good enough. I'm not going to mess around with any of this stuff. I'm going to leave them here because we might actually need them later to do the opposite, because we might actually have to mix in white for the actual colors that we're going to use on the board. In fact, if I look at these, and let me see if I can get a closer look here. If I look at these, are these matching? Are these matching? So if I say this is a DA3E2B, and this is the same. Yeah, okay, so they're matching. All right. So we have the color palettes here. We have swatches in here, which is nice. We can clean up the styling. I mean, obviously the colors are pretty horrible. Let's move the icons are kind of in the wrong place now, I think. Icon position absolute margin 0.25 rem, something like that. Boom. 0.25 rem. 0.2. I mean, we almost don't need the icons in here anymore, I think. It's more like we need the icon on the outside. What do you guys think if we get rid of the icon and just have the swatches? I was just more thinking for visual sort of recognition. Let's get rid of some of these event handler spam. Don't need that anymore. Need that. Don't need these. These, we don't need that. That seems to work now. This seems to work. That's good. Don't need that anymore. Yeah. Question is, will it be confusing? Will people not recognize it, you know? I get rid of the icon, just like that. And then stretch the whole thing out. So instead of here, make that 0.5 instead of 3.5. I think that's good enough, probably. All right, that's our UI for now. This stream was supposed to be about the next step. So one of the issues we have is, and that's been partially resolved with the introduction, what we did with the lines and the letters. But basically, we need to, when we're adding colors now, we need to add more than just 9 colors. And right now, and let's kind of start focusing on that a little bit. Hey, Mark. Yeah, it's more like, will people... I mean, okay, it's selected. I guess it's okay. And to be honest, people aren't going to select the colors just from this. They're going to bring it up and look at it on the buttons, you know? I mean, another thing I was wondering is if I can toggle... what if I had like a little up and down arrow so I could... I'm almost tempted to put like a little up and down arrow here so I can go up and down to the next palette without leaving the screen, without bringing up the menu. Kind of like what we're doing with these, you know? Now, let's do that actually quickly because we got to get rid of this one, this button. And how are we doing that in the letter tool? So the letter tool actually needs to be listening, not pen. Letter tool needs to be listening to changing or to tool changes. Can temps. Oh man, this was actually quite complex. Show hide letters, controls, input letters, show hide controls, letter map, set letter mode, show hide letters, letter mode, toggle mode. This tool with letters. So we did the whole thing with this tool with letters. And that is used where? Handle tool, enter. So I think we can capture handle tool enter as well on the feature, but I'm not 100% certain. If I do this here, I think that is going to be no. Shoot. So the features do not get tool handle tool enter. Did I need to do that with any of these? No. Darn. We are adding event handlers though otherwise, so we can listen to these. This is a little complicated. Handle tool enter, tool exec, handle tool enter. So this is only executed on tools. Now this could be a tool if I extract the color tool altogether instead of just having it as a feature. But tool exec handler. There should really be an event being fired, and I don't see it being fired here unless the tool exec handler directly fires an event. It triggers a tool event. So we might be able to listen to this. And we need to simplify all this as well. Ugh. Ugh. Don't like where this is going. But we should be able to do app.on tool handler name handle tool enter this dot handle tool enter. Is it? Doesn't fire when we're starting up. Ah, that sucks. That sucks. Ah, wait, we need to detect if we're in the right tool. So is current tool is tool with letters tool, and we're getting app.tool. So this is going to do this. Yeah, yeah, I'm just gonna soldier on. Okay, so we're gonna say if attach element, and here we're just gonna say if app.tool is not equal color, return. So we have no color button, and then we go into color. The problem is, okay, we have a couple of options. We could use CSS on the button. So we could literally just have the button not be visible. And I'm tempted to just do that for... No, because other tools might do their own thing. So we need to know when we're starting up. But this is our place where we're attaching tool handlers, right? So we're going to do a separate thing where we're going to say show or toggle tool, toggle menu, force show. And then we'll do this, and then basically everything down here goes in there. This whole mess. And then we can clean it up there later. And here we're just going to attach this and then detach that there off. So now handle tool enter, handle tool enter. And there should be a handle tool exit. Except handle tool exit, I think we don't need because there's always a handle tool enter. Unless, wait, now we don't need this. Yeah, so we need to get rid of. So this should always now exist. Even if we start on a different tool and then we'll switch, we'll do that. Okay. And then we'll do handle tool enter. And then we can manually fire it here like that. And now it should always fire, right? So we should get a handle tool enter here. And then here we can do a, could do all of these things. Right, if this feature enabled, if not this feature enabled. All right, and then we can do console.warn. Log app.tool. App.tool. Handle tool, enter app.tool. And we probably want to, not just a toggle menu, we want to have a show and a hide, right? So let's move that over here. If app.tool equals color this dot show palette show menu. We're just going to do that. And then we're going to have a hide menu. We're going to do it low key. It's just going to be show menu. It's going to be hide menu. This to show menu. Else this dot hide menu. Or no, it's fine. So hide menu, show menu, hide menu. Multiply off, hide menu. Okay, now we just removed everything. All right. So we should also trigger a hide menu down here. So we'll do our hide menu. And then here we'll do a this dot show menu. Right? We don't need to do any of these things now. Basically just do this. So show menu, color hide menu. Hide menu. Yeah. And then inside hide menu, we need to remove a bunch of stuff in here. All these handlers we're gonna clean up later. These go higher up the thingamajig. Palette menu. Palette menu. Palette menu is assigned here. Button palette is assigned here. Let me think. I want to simplify this. So let's clean this up a little bit. It's already typo on toggle. Toggle. Don't see it. So handle palette toggle. Handle palette toggle. Handle palette select. Select palette. Do we need this elsewhere? I think this is the only other place where that gets called. Handle palette toggle. Is that also done anywhere else? Handle palette select toggles. Handle palette. Okay, that toggles it off. All right, we're gonna remove this stuff. I'm gonna clean things up. There's too much rubbish in here. Palette options. So right now, we don't even use the icons anymore. So I'm just gonna think we don't even need the icons. Great. Spent like an hour trying to make those icons. Handle palette select. I'm just trying to think what I can simplify. I'm tempted to move these up into the class. That's where they should be. We definitely need a reference to the elements. Actually, no, we don't need a reference. We can just, yeah, let's keep it simple. Let's forget the references. We're just gonna query selector them. And then we're just gonna rip them out for now. So in here, we're gonna do document.query selector. And there. We have this. So that's a div palette. Yeah, so then we just query selector this dot remove. That's actually all we need, I think. I think there aren't any stray event handlers. There shouldn't be any stray event handlers. Nope. I didn't do it. I mean, the button is broken. Oh, no, not palette menu. Palette button. Both need to go. So, gone. There it is. But it is strangely broken now. Because we did use the icons, and I removed them. All right. Gotta put them back in. I forgot that we used the icons there. That's, you know, premature removal of stuff. Code removal is always a bit of a issue. I think that's all we needed. Yeah. Boom. Leave, come back. There it is. Come back. Cannot read properties of null. So if we go from here to here. Hide menu, handle tool, enter. We probably want to check. Wait a second. So we go here, we go here, we go here, we go here, go here, go here, go here. And now it broke. Reading remove. Ah. Okay. So hide menu, show menu, show menu. This dot menu visible equals true. This dot menu visible equals false. If not this dot menu, return. Okay. 173. Alt enter. Don't. That's just this. That's all. And I just removed it, and now I'm wondering if I needed it. Ah, because we just in attach, I'm just calling show menu instead of handle tool enter. Always trying to be smarter than myself, and I always fail. All right. I think that should now work. Okay. And it's a little bit more reasonable. Don't need that. We have our first handler here. This obviously doesn't make sense. This happens after. Here we have our first off. Then we have clear classes. Select palette. Here's a button remove. Select palette. Is that what we're removing here as well? Palette button. Data control select. button palette, button palette, button palette. Handle pattern. Palette button. Palette button. Let's use this selector for consistency. The palette menu, I forget where that lives. Palette menu. That gets attached to there. All right. So hide menu is what we want down here. So this dot hide menu. In fact, hide menu has already been called, so we don't need that code anymore. All right, and show menu is still being logged out here. All right. All right. I need something with a tongue out. I need an emoji with a tongue out. Or mark. That one. All right. So, back to the actual task at hand of this stream, and we're only an hour in. We need to figure out how to push different numbers into the colors and handle them correctly. And to do that, we're going to first look at how colors are being handled. Ooh, why is this so small suddenly? This one. It's still small. This is not the right level of indentation, is it? No, it is. It is. Okay. So at some point, we're going through do handle key, do press digit. That's the crux, right? So this is where all the input runs through. So I go here, and I press a 2, and we're on color, right? And then this ends up as an action. Now, so what we want to do all right, Mark, this is actually an interesting question, right? Because the color palettes aren't necessarily consistent between users. So we cannot just assign a contiguous sequence of symbols to all the colors across all the palettes. In the future, somebody might have the same palette in the 3rd position as I have in the 4th, etc., right? So, because my original idea was that this would be colors 0 through 9, and then these would be 10 through 20, and these would be, you know. But we can't really do that, because in the future, I might change the colors of this to be like this, etc., right? So we could do it like we did it for the lines, I suppose, where we're basically pushing a color change event. Isn't that what we're doing with the lines now? Tool pen. So line reset, draw line hand, act, start, send, add, set, selected color, framework, tool pen color. To be honest, we need to do this as well on here when we're changing colors. Select palette here, right? So selected color. So then when we're pushing the Yeah, so I remember. So wait, okay. So when we're actually drawing, drag end. So we're adding these actions, and then eventually we're doing act send. And act send checks if the color has changed and then adds a pen color change event. No, but you understand, blobs. Internally, there is a action list, and these are very short strings of a few characters that represent the thousands of actions that get played through a game, and those determine what happens, right? And we're very limited in what we can put into those, like single characters and so on, very short actions. And the way we did pen color handling is we had a new action called pen color. So, for example, okay, let's reset. So framework.app.replay stack, right? So let's put a 1 in here just to show what the replay stack, no, not replace, puzzle dot replay stack, right? So putting that 1 in the grid gave us 2 actions. A selection action represented here by, let me see if that actually shows up on stream. Yeah. By the SL/R1C1/243, which is the milliseconds into the game. And then a value action, which says place value 1, right? Now, for the lines, I think if I go to here and I select this cell, yeah. So now we have our select action, value 1. Now we have a group start, deselect, we're deselecting that, pencil color set to 1, select the second cell, pencil action 5, deselect, group end. And that's basically the actions, right? And that way, I can always have a pen 5. Let's say we switch to red, we put a circle here. Now we look at this, we have the second group start here. Pencil color 4, select, pen 5, deselect, group end. So we're always placing 5. And I guess for the colors, that's okay as well, because the colors, as things stand right now, are not part of a solution path. They're not, they don't correspond to a solution. And if they ever do, we could potentially retrospectively kind of index them into the palette. I don't even know how that would work, right? I think this would be the least intrusive way, and it's a proven way of adding color change, palette change to the colors. Now, the way color input works right now, and if I go back on these, now we have the undo action. That's not actually super helpful. So if I go here, right, and I put a 1 here and a 5 here, and then look at our action stack, it's similar to the value, right? We have a selection, a color, deselection, selection, and a different color. So what we would now add is basically a palette swap action. And I think unlike with the pen, because we don't have that complex group stuff, we could literally have just the palette swap as a standalone action without grouping, without late binding. Because, for example, with the way I did it with the pen colors is, let's say I put a red here. Now I can change the color a million times and then put a circle here. And it won't have a million color changes here. It'll have, let's see, group start, deselect, pencil color 4, select, pencil action 5, deselect, group end, group start, pencil select, pencil 5, deselect, group end. Yeah. I don't actually need to do that with this. I don't think so. And then basically the complication there is that now we have a additional piece of state to store with the puzzle, because the puzzle needs to know at any point in time which color is the current color. And the pen was, I don't know if I managed to end up storing the state in the pen, or because I think no, I have to store the state in the puzzle itself because it needs to be serialized alongside with the rest of the puzzle. So if we look at serialized state, we have create state here, and I see, that's how I implemented it. handle create state, and then it's actually adding this to the state. So I outsourced it out of the internal engine. So we might be able to take care of that. The problem is this is only handling events, passing events forward to tools, not features. So what we might actually do is we might hijack the color tool and add our listener there. To be honest, these things, yeah, this is actually badly implemented. This should be like an event listener. The problem is it needs to be synchronous, right? But the tool should just register itself instead of just having this magic thing here. To be honest, the hesitancy I have is just trying to, in my brain, I'm going through all the different ways I can approach this. And I'm trying to figure out what is the one that is most likely to succeed the quickest. I mean, the state actually we don't necessarily implement right away. Like we need it for it to work, but not to make it, to be able to test it. When we're rendering the pen lines, we need access to the pen color. So if we look at, and we need to indent to 3, I think. So render pen. This needs access to the colors. Render pen. Render part. So the colors are integrated here. Let's see if we can find where they come from. They're probably not coming from too far away. Probably from the cell's rendering engine. So render pen has pen color 4, which comes out of render content. All right, so it is in the cell rendering here. And colors, color scheme, val, color scheme. Color scheme, color val. Not colors, what am I looking at? Pen. Pen color, color. Val cal split. So the values are stored in the cell. So we have cells here. No. Puzzle cells, right. So we have these cells. And if we look at the first cell, it has states, rendered values. No, not the first cell. We want to look at the third cell with the red circle, right? So the pen is a 5-4. If I do this, and now look at the third cell, we have a 5-5. 5-5. And if I do a red this, we now have a... How is the pen still 5-5? 0, 1, 2. Which cell am I looking at? Oh. Yes. Okay, so it's an array of 2-value items. I see. Or do I? Mark, help me. How did we do this? Puzzle replace stack. So these actions go I don't even remember how the actions get translated. 1 second. Actions pen. How do we get to the double values? Pen. toggle group, selected cells, pen, arc, pen color, tools pen, selected cells, pen. So on the cell, we're changing the pen value, which is implemented here. It's implemented here. So we would have to make color. Man, I was hoping to be able to make that independent. So it's basically a magic translation from the two values in different places. Pen.splice I1 delete true distant pen push val plus color. And the color comes from val call split. Except the toggle pen wait a second. Toggle pen prop set pen. Toggle prop pen, toggle pen, prop unset. So where else is toggle pen being used? Prop set, toggle pen. So somewhere there's a prop set with pen. Except I'm not seeing it. One sec, this is a mess. So, actions. Go down to execution. Execution pen arc. Now arc at this point should not have the color information. So we have set state color here. Set state color, get state color. So where is get state color being used? In toggle pen. Oh, how did I not see this? Oh, so this in theory brings the pen color in, but that's actually never used. So yeah, the API is not advanced enough yet to do this external. Now, it's not as bad of a deal with the colors because we already have all this color stuff here. So the color palettes, like I don't even mind making them sort of a first-class citizens. I'm still not 100% convinced though if I want to have the palettes separately or have a contiguous set of colors. Because the other thing we need to consider is how this works with people who don't have a particular color palette. I mean, one good thing is that it will always fall back to the corresponding colors, right? So if you're setting color 0 of a different palette, it can just set color 0 of the original palette. And there are a few... The other thing I'm just thinking about, the other problem we have is, what does a cell look like that has more than 9 colors in it, right? So I can go here, and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 0, 9. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 9 colors. Now, if I switch palette, I guess it'll just keep shoving more colors in there, which is, I guess, okay. So, are we gonna have to do the same mechanism with dual values here? Toggle pen, clear pen, val equals 0. So currently, colors are... How do they work? Multicolor, are they an array? Let's see. Render content, colors. Render content colors val. And let's clear this before we refresh, because this potentially would have a lot of stuff in here. Render column val 1, val 15, val 157. Now, I think with the pen, I do this, it is a double character string. Okay. So what does it do with pre-multicolor pen replays? Yeah. We don't have that problem because that data is not like this stored in the replay. It will not work with saved puzzle states, but those aren't really saved across sessions. Okay. Sorry, my brain is a little full of stuff right now. So, pen color. So the way we're switching colors here, we actually want to switch palettes here. And the way we can access the pen tool via this, the features are not similarly available, are they? These features only exist. They only exist in the settings per se. Add feature. I mean, this tells me I should probably implement this as the color tool. So pull the color tool out, similar to the pen tool, put all this functionality in there. But right now, I just, and I'll probably should do that because I'd like to actually improve the API, right? And by pulling the color tool out, I'll see a lot of things that need to be improved in the API. But for now, I'd like to have a functional prototype ASAP. So let's see. Add feature. Add feature does what? Where does this feature live? Get settings, add settings. It doesn't live anywhere. This does not feature. Yeah, this doesn't live anywhere. So what we're probably gonna do is something a little bit like this. So we're probably gonna do something like this. Dot features equals, or actually I'm gonna add that in here under. This might be a little confusing since we have, you know, features as in features of a puzzle. Should I do this? Should I do this? I'm hesitant about adding this because something like this, because I was going to add an area of features registered as a feature, so now we have a reference to it, you know. But probably what it should do is it should probably attach itself to the tools area instead. And I'm just going to bring this on screen. So we have framework.app.tools, and then under tools, we'd probably have, under the pen tool, we have that whole complex object. But under the color tool, we do not have a complex object. So what we could do is we could hijack the color tool and attach things there. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to very surreptitiously, whenever we're changing the palette, first of all, I'm going to do tool color, and I'm gonna rename it to American spelling. Tool color palette, and then set that to this dot palette, this dot palette menu, button palette, palette options, current palette. And this is gonna be, instead of current palette there, it's just gonna be this dot current palette, and then select palette this dot current palette, select parent, select palette, select palette, and then this current palette. And we probably literally just want to do this instead. Select palette. Select palette label. Where else are we running select palette? Label. Current palette dot label. And then so label, that's what's getting passed in. This is what, this is, where do we jump to? This is what's currently in here. And then this is what's gonna be there later. And why does it have two L's here suddenly? Don't know. And current palette dot label, we're just going to throw that in there. And we're going to update this to alt item palette. So just, yeah. I'm going to put that there, and we're going to throw these at the top. We don't need that anymore. All right. Syntax error at 218. 218. Yeah. Change of mind there. So now, go here, change palette. We have this. But it also means we now have a current palette that we can access. Or at least we will once I put that somewhere. And a moment ago, I knew exactly where I was going to put it. Yes, on the tool. So, framework.tools, no, app.tools. Yeah. Now, we're going to just assume it exists. If once we move all this code into a tools tool, it should be a lot easier. So let tool color framework.app.tools.color, and I'm going to slowly try to transition everything to American spelling where possible. It's going to drive me crazy, but you know. And then we're going to do that dot current palette equals this dot current palette. Now, one of the issues I have in the action list, do we want to put the full string in there for the palette, the label, or do we want to have some sort of index? The label will help us to identify missing palettes. The index obviously is more compact, but it might just fail, right? It might not be unique across different users and so on. Let's just move straight past that for now. Because if we look at colors and compare them to pen, it's in toggle color where things are going to have to happen, right? Setting multicolor, prop colors, this clear colors, this toggle prop. And this is where the ultimate thing is going to then happen, right? Toggle prop color. Well, it's going to be different now. And pen tool. So let's give us a little bit of breathing space here. Let color tool equals tools dot color, and then color tool dot current palette. Right? Restart, clear, refresh, and put a 5 in here. So we do press kit, toggle color, and it has our palette here. And now, instead of just toggling prop, like we would do here, so toggle prop. After toggle prop, what are we updating? Items comes out of this prop label. Prop contains. So we're doing a bunch of stuff here, which I think we had to re-implement in the pen system. So we're gonna do this. Host res turn res, and then here we're gonna do prop label is color. So it's just gonna be this. Before and after. This.color. That doesn't make sense. Toggle prop. References prop label. Prop map. Ah. Prop map. So we need to run through prop map. Just to make things even more complicated. I'm going to move this above. So I know where's the last thing that I didn't mess around with. And do this. Do this. And what we get? Prop is not defined. Prop is color. So this becomes a 5, and if I add this, it becomes a 5 and a 7. And then with the pen, kind of did the same thing. Oh, but we changed it to be an array instead of a... No, this is an array. So I'm probably gonna have to ultimately do this. And why can this not handle multiple characters? Ah, yes, of course, because... in this case, it doesn't matter, though. In the pen tool, the point was that a yellow X mark would overwrite a red X mark. So the X was the important thing. The color was actually incidental. I mean, we could treat colors the same way, but I don't think we want to, right? We want to be able to show a number 1 from 2 different palettes in the same way. So the problem is here we cannot have the palette as a long string. So the palette does need to be a singular symbol, and the problem with that is that that symbol once again is not unique. I mean, it's like, but I think that actually is okay. I think it's okay to say, hey, if you have 10 palettes, you know, and you draw symbols with palettes 1 through 3, those are always using palettes 1 through 3. It doesn't matter whose palette. Like, worst case scenario, we can store a user's palettes in the future if we ever do something like sharing replays and things like that. So I think other than that, just knowing, you know, and then we just, but then now we're back to basically being able to index colors contiguously. This is doing my head in. So basically, let me just make this bigger. So right now, the idea is to have something like, so palettes is, you know, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yada yada. We have colors, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yada yada yada. And then cell.color equals, you know, PC, right? Where P is, you know, so let's say palette is 2, and then the color would be 3, something like that. Yeah, exactly. But then I'm thinking, if I'm doing this, I might as well just say colors equals 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, yada, 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 right? The only thing is there we probably run out of characters a bit sooner. And I think I want to limit them to just one case. So this would give us 3 palettes only. I mean, there's something to be said to keep it down to like 3 palettes max as well. Because if there's too many palettes, nobody's gonna need 50 colors, right? If anything, it makes more sense than to have palette sets. Let's say you have 3 palettes for 30 colors, and then you can switch out those 3 palettes, for different 3 palettes. But you can't have more than 3 palettes. So it might make sense to have, instead of having 6 here, like, I mean, the 6 is more like to give somebody the choice of the exact colors they want. They have a gradient of greens, gradient of reds, etc., and kind of use different palettes for different parts of the puzzle. Another problem is also deleting colors, because to delete a specific color, you'd basically have to get to that palette before you can remove that color. So that's also not necessarily a good usability experience. I'm starting to wonder if this is too complex. Like, I thought multiple palettes would be simpler. And to be honest, I think when I thought about it just having an alternate palette, not having many alternate palettes. So it might make sense to say, instead of having multiple palettes like that, how useful is that ever going to be? It's too much to handle. Like, then you have to suddenly find the right palette to be able to delete the specific color without wiping the whole cell, Also, how many colors can you show in a wheel like this without that being just ridiculous? Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Like, I need something I can use before I can really tell if it's stupid. Like, I'm not using it right now. I'm just like, oh, pretty colors, But is that actually useful for solving a puzzle? Because if we have fewer palettes, I can literally have them as buttons down here, That's the advantage. Because if you only have 2 palettes, right, I can literally have this be a toggle button without bringing up a menu. And then we solve a lot of problems and make things a lot easier. And we could even go to a 3rd palette, to be honest. But yeah, 2 palettes for 18 colors. And if we make the transparent the 0, 0 through 9, that's 10 colors. So that gets us to 20 colors. That's even useful for larger puzzles. Well, probably you would then select, you would then customize. You would have a list of 20 color palettes, and then just have to toggle between the 2, kind of like letter mode and digit mode. Because then what I would do in the button is basically have kind of 2 swatches, right? And have them swap places or something. To show which one is the current active one and which one is the inactive one. And then I don't have to worry about any of this stuff. I mean, I still have to worry about it because I have to actually... I mean, let's see, right? Because I keep thinking that if I just send the right characters in, I don't have to do any of this stuff. And we can simulate this, right? Because these buttons currently have data values assigned with them, right? So let's try something where we're just assigning additional data values. So this is where we're switching the colors for the buttons out, right? And we know what palette we're at. Should that be here? Wait a second. Handle palette select. Select palette. Shouldn't the select palette do that? Select palette. Select palette. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this should happen inside select palette. So Handle palette toggle. Display menu. Oh, that's closing it, but this should actually happen in here. I think that should still work, right? Yeah. So that should happen in here. Then we don't actually need that. Don't need that. We don't like have half the code in here, half the code in there, and it makes sense. Don't need to return this. But here we now need to update the buttons themselves. And we're gonna output the palette. And we're gonna calculate an index for the palette. So out options, index of palette. So that should give us an index, a little stand-in ID. Yeah, we need a full interface for editing palettes and stuff anyways. And it could be something like this, you know. Palette option 0. Oops, palette option. Yeah, so that gets us the palette ID. Let palette ID equal this. Oop. Now, and this is kind of the interesting part, finally. And sorry, I'm going a bit slow. My brain is, it's like 9 o'clock now and I'm getting tired. 9 o'clock on a Sunday. We want data-value. Find data-value. Yeah. Well, not exactly, but query selector all. Query selector all, and we're gonna find specifically the buttons with a data.value like this. I think. That should get us a bunch of buttons, and not necessarily just the you know, digit entry buttons. For each, what? For each. With the program, came on. So we clear this, change that. Okay. So that gets us 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 0. Okay. So data set value. Just make sure we only get the digits. If dataset.value match, make sure it's just a singular 0 through 9 digit. So let val equal boom. Right? And now we're gonna calculate a number and index that into the alphabet, basically. So calculate the number, this multiplied by plus palette ID times 10. Right? Switch to this. 11, 12, 13, 19, 10. Yada, yada, yada. And now we want to index that into the alphabet. So it's going to be this. And if val is smaller than 10, then it's val. Otherwise, it's val minus 10. And, you know, some other stuff. Namely, so if I go to the second palette, that should get us 1 through 0 again. And now we can do string.from char code 0 plus a dot char code at 0. Okay. And that should be this. So that should now get us 0 through 9 for the first palette, then 8 through whatever, and then and so on until we run out. So I'm going to do this. Assign that to a val. That's our new value. And these are actually going to be assigned to the button datasets. So, for example, we go here, we switch to this. So now the style sheet doesn't apply anymore. That's interesting. Now, if I click this, what happens? If I click this, toggle color C. So we'll have to deal with the style sheet here. One, 3, 8 can use val. Ah, yeah. So now we actually applied C as a color. Now the question is, how are we going to render that out? Currently, how does that happen? I think I have an idea. I think it literally just indexes it into our color palette. So if we look at our render content function here, colors, render content, colors, color val, class name, color dash, color scheme. So what we could do is inject those into our color scheme. All right, so what if we do a little function here, const get color value from color and palette ID. I'm just going to do that. And it's basically just this little thing here. So let val equals color plus palette times 10. And then we're going to do this. We're just going to return that. Return. Right? And then we can do this down here. That in there. Don't need that anymore. And all of this goes away. This goes away. Right? And you know what? We're probably going to put that in here anyways. Because generally speaking, these things are like that. And now we're going to do the same thing up here. So we have the icons, right? But we're also going to do this. And we're going to do IX. And and then we're just going to do 0, 1, 2. We're going to do this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dot split dot for each color. Let val equals color IDX. And then we're going to output console.log IDX color val. And that should output the color values for all the colors in all these palettes. Get color value is not defined. Oh, I defined it in here. It's fine. It's supposed to be up here. All right. So that gets us all these. And we probably should just knock off some of those palettes. We don't need them. 0. So we should have enough digits for 3.5. The half we're going to use, reserve for future use. Do something like this. So that gets us, so pal 0, 1, and 2 gets us up to T. And we want to add values to the color scheme over here. So color scheme is like this. Color scheme.color. Right. Also log color scheme. And it's gonna be, you know, color underscore val. So that should get us the initial 10 and then a bunch of nothings. Yeah. And I guess now we can just assign them. If we knew what the colors are. So colors, color. Does that work? Now the palettes currently only have 9 colors assigned. Right. That color equals all colors C color. And then we can do if color. Now, this will override the existing colors with the wrong shadings and whatnot. That's something we'll have to deal with. Equals color. Now, will that work? I don't know. Let's see, color scheme now should have a bunch more colors in here. So let's go in here. Let's switch to the second palette. Add a bunch of colors. Go back to the first palette. Add a bunch more. Okay. So... wait a second. B. Wait, what? 1 second. That looked good, but it didn't go back once we switched back to the original. So wait a second. If I press the first button, I get a B. If I switch to the second palette, I get a B. If I switch to the third palette, I still get a B. But if I refresh, what do I get now? I get a 1. I get a 1B. Now I still only get a B. And I have a feeling this didn't get changed. Yes. And the reason for that is that I've changed them. So I was matching them prior, and now I've changed them. All right. We need to translate them reverso. Jeez. Okay. So we need a reverse of this function. Get color value. Get color. To be honest, really all we need is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. You know what? I'm gonna do new array 40. Array.keys dot map dot keys dot map I don't think we need the keys here. We can just do this. I'm gonna just map it to index. And now we're gonna map this to get color value. No, we're gonna map it to... Well, we're gonna map it to this. We're gonna replace the I with a val. We're gonna map it to that. It's gonna give us our magic string here. Right? And this is our color indexes. And we probably don't want to go to 40. We're probably gonna just want to go to 30. That gets us up to T. Right? Let color vals equals. And then we can just do return color vals val like that. So if I do a 5, nope, if I do a 5 here, and then if I switch to the second palette and I click here and I press a 5, my brain. Oh, it's not returning. Let's reset. Switch to back here. Now, we're going to use this to index in reverser back to this. That console val. No, what am I doing? I'm too tired. This is not working anymore. Dot index off. So that should get us the turn that back into a number. So if I switch palettes to here, so val b 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Huh? Wait, what? Val dot match this, and then this comes back. Oh yeah. Wait a second. 4 4 4 4 4. All right. So I go here, press purple, get orange. Sure, whatever. Why? All right. Wait a second. Let's back up for a sec. We know this doesn't work properly. So if I go here, press purple, I get orange. So this is because we overwrote the colors up here. Right? That's the reason. So refresh. Nope. Reset. Go in here. Draw a purple. Get a purple. Okay. So we over here we've overridden the colors. So instead of overwriting the color scheme here, let's just have a look at it first. Color scheme. So color scheme 000, boom, color 0. CF, yeah. All right. And color scheme on 9 So palette 09, color 9 is this. So we can just put that in here in line. Don't, oh. Okay. And then 0, so then A, B, C, D. So are these assignments sensible? I have a feeling I'm like off by 1. Because we don't have zeros in the palettes. Okay. We gotta skip zeros. Actually, no, we gotta add 1 to the palette number. Zero through 9. Colors. You know what? We want to go through these guys. And then have the C value here. C val. C color val. Color. Don't need that anymore. C. So we have IDX C. That's the color value. So that's the 0th element, but it should really be the first one here. And I think this is the 0 or the 1 button. It's the 1 button. So now we need to map them in the sort of +1 direction, right? So C here is really C plus equals 1. So we start with that, and we're skipping the 0 altogether. So that's color 1, color 2, color 3, color 4, yada, 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 right? And color 3 here should be the closest to black. Yeah, okay, so now they're matching up. So now this makes more sense again. Sorry, I kind of got run into a trap there. And now I should be able to delete this, put a purple there, and it's darker as expected. Now I can put a yellow. Green. Gray. Ah, no. Okay, so these are the colors from the other palette. Okay. Because, and now we have to do this. Okay, so now we have to, as we're switching palettes, this whole current palette business, I want to get rid of that. That's super spammy. It's not helping me. Yeah, let's get rid of that. And now we need to update the buttons, right? So clear that, switch. And these are our buttons. And we need to match the buttons into our color vals. And then get this according to our palette. So clear that, switch, second thing. So now these are the get values according to the palette. So we just set that to this. And now this obviously is not correct for the reversal. We probably have to do a modulus 10 there. So switch to the second one. Now, if I switch back to the first one, yeah, we get this situation, right? What did we have here? Color vals, index of val, get color value, index of val. Now, what if we do this modulus 10? So second palette, back to first palette. Now we're back to these. And if I do this in here, second, first, the final results looks okay. I go back to here. Val, Palette ID. Wait, okay. Do this. So switch to the second, back to the first, go here, put an orange, go to the second, do these other colors, go to the third, do these additional colors, go back to the first one, and more colors. Sweet. But also remove them. Okay, now we need to update the buttons themselves because I think they're being styled by... I think they're being styled from CSS, which obviously we can't do now. So now this is data value 1. And before... Ah, wait a second. But we did change the... Well, we had that working already. Okay. So why is this not good anymore? Because that was happening in here. All right. All right. So let's clean all that up. So this is btn val, and then new val is let val equals this. So val. That's btn val, and I think that's all we care about. And then this will be the new val here. So let's see. All right, so we switch to the second palette. That switches 1 to B and so on. And then we switch back to the first one. Okay, now when we switch to the second one, this needs to be updated appropriately. So, and the rule we need to update is according to what we had prior, which is the button value. So button value, and that color is now going to be this color, and the color comes from current palette.colors. And yeah, before we go in here, we're gonna visualize that. Palette.colors, and that should always be. It should always be indexed in this way, right? So whatever the value is, modulus indexed into color values and modulus 10, right? And the same thing for the button value color, right? Does that sound right? And going back from B to 1. No. Okay, yeah, because of the modulus 10. Yeah, this is always the same. All right. So now that should be the new color based on val, not on button val. One second. I think I might have to for dinner. All right. Switch to the second palette. God damn it. Did not work. Why not? I think because the palette colors are shifted by 1. So we actually wanna reduce these by 1, something like this. Nope. That's 9. Okay. And we're gonna do let color equal this. So that's gonna be the new color. And that's gonna be what we set this to. Color. Is this gonna work before that? I don't know. So if we turn this around and then put val in here, is that gonna be more reliable? Can read properties undefined reading style. Undefined reading style. Yeah, so that doesn't work. Because it hasn't happened yet. There might be a bit of a race condition thing going on here as well. Boom. If I don't do this, will the buttons change at all? They are changing. Wait a second. Why are they changing? Why are they changing? I didn't think that's what would happen. If I don't touch these at all, they're still changing, but why? Go back to here. Because that style still exists. Ah, I'm an idiot. We're not modifying the selector here. So we'd have to modify the selector text as well. So we gotta... No. Keep it simple. We're gonna update the selector text as well. If we can. I don't know if that's something you can change, to be honest. And that should be the new val. So, and now we're changing. Now I want to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so one last issue we now have is that pressing these buttons does the right thing. But the function doPressDigit, if I'm pressing on the keyboard, gets a 1. While if I press this, it gets a L. Excuse me. There's a whole many different. I mean, I can obviously do a quick hard code in there. I could add different. I could. Yeah, wait. We don't have a reference to a button when you're pressing a key. That's what it comes down to, right? I could look at, yeah, so what I was thinking is I could have 2 numbers on the button, one for the position and one for the actual value. And then I could look for that button to figure out which digit we're actually sending. So let's see, console.log key digit, and it's gonna be this, right? So if I go here, I do this, key digit 1, switch it to here, press 1 again, key digit 1, like, okay, let digit equal digit. Let me put this into a warn so I can see it more easily. Pass the digit through. But now what we can do is document dot query query selector. Now, I don't like actually hooking this into the DOM that like this. It's going to bite me in the butt later, but right now, I just want to get it working. So, button, and then we'll have title equal, and see if digit comes back through here. Basically, can we select the button, and then can we use the button's titles to reference retroactively what we should get? Key digit warn. We got the button here. So, that button. Now, can we do button dot dataset dot value? And basically do the translation through the button because the button is up to date. Press a 2. 2C. And then we'll just say digit equals button value. So that would be one little hacky way of doing this, built into everything. So if I do this, right? Let's reset. Actually, let's get rid of some of this stuff. 1033. Right. Most of this is now no longer a thing. Right. 757. Render content. Right. So let's do these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Switch palette. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Switch palette again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, the problem is, to remove them, I have to go to each particular palette. So obviously, it's not actually useful for putting that many colors into a cell. It's not useful for that. But I don't think that's how people want to use it anyways. It's useful for having more palettes, more colors available to use. And that it can do like this. And it's actually not too intrusive into the existing code base. So what we're going to do, I'm going to get rid of the pen tool for a sec. And I think I want to do a quick demonstration. Just to see what it might, how it might work. So I'm going to record this. I got to go a bit smaller. A small. Just a bit small. Yeah. All right. I hope that'll compress down enough. There won't be that much movement. All right. Record. Boom. And that's broken. Throw it away. How did that break? Palette ID. Did I press 0 by mistake? Palette ID 0. 163. 163. Cannot see property 168. Cannot set properties of undefined. So value ended up as -1. How's that possible? Okay, first of all, I don't want to show this. Like every time I change palette, I think it's showing all of these. That's coming from 1, 2, 3. So I think it's this one. So then what's the problem? I don't want to show this anymore either. 154. You gonzo. Palette ID. Palette ID 0. Palette ID 0. Value -1. Button value. Why do we get -1 from button.dataset? That's a bit odd. The heck? Where is this coming from? 163. Oh. .dataset. Okay. Reset. I have a feeling it is not adding additional colors. Wait a second. Swipe across the colors. Swipe across the colors. Swipe across the colors. And get rid of this. Oh, that's this one. Fuck it. Let's get rid of it. All right, let's try it again. All right. Record. Do this. Do this. Do this. All right. Then we do this. Switch palette. Switch palette. Switch palette. Switch palette. Switch palette. Switch palette. Stop. I think that's it. Let's see. That's not API. CTC app color palettes. Let's see. All right. I think that's it for today. It's been a long 2 streams. It's almost 10 o'clock. I need to come back to reality. Yeah, it was a bit of a slug, but I want to get far into it. And I think this second method is much better than what I had in mind initially. So basically what we can do is we can get rid of the menu for choosing palettes, turn it into a 1, 2, 3 toggle maybe, and then build a settings screen for customizing the palettes. So basically you need 2 things. You need to be able to build an individual palette. You need to ideally import, export them, and then you need to be able to... I think I'm actually not going to manage... I don't know if I want to manage them as 3 separate palettes. I'll probably manage them as individual 30 color palettes. Because I don't know if somebody will keep one palette the same and then wants to switch the other 2 out. I don't know. And it would be easy enough to just clone the first 10 colors into another palette, you know? Just to keep things simple. So we don't have 2... Otherwise, we have 2 levels of management. We have 2 individual palettes and then the set of palettes to edit. Rather than just having, you know, 30 color palettes that you can manage in a list, right? All right, that's it. I'm getting tired. I'm not making sense anymore. If you have pity on me, check out patreon.com/SvenCodes, although everybody watching, I think, is already there. You know, the usual, subscribe to the channels, and always nice to see the numbers go up, makes me happy. Feedback in the channels. If you've got any specific feedback to today's chat, I appreciate you posting on Discord as well, just to show other people that stuff has been happening and is going on and is progressing. And thank you so much for hanging out and keeping me company while I get this stuff done. And hopefully this will be a feature very, very soon. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Have a good night. Take care. Bye.